You know what I've been thinking? Maybe Santiago is in some sort of trub.
What gives you that idea? We haven't seen Santiago in the past couple months.
Right.
And the last thing we understood about Santiago was that he was hot on the trail of the PFK.
The painty face killer. Two options. He's either undercover or he's
underground.
dead. Or underground. Like he's hiding? He's hiding in a sewer.
Oh, yeah. No, 6 feet.
Give me a second.
Okay.
Hey, boys! Santi might be in a sewer. Round up crew! Check the sewers! We got a new lead!
Where'd you get that lead from that Santiago might be in a sewer again?
You just told me. He might be underground.
No.
Yeah.
Oh. I'm sorry to always bring that up.
That's okay. I love bringing it up.
You know what I want to bring up? This new case file. Look at that. Read it and weep.
Dangers
No.
and Dognars.
Okay.
Wow, that looks great, huh?
Dungeons and Dragons.
Where are my glasses?
Honor Among Thieves.
Or as some people call it, D&D. Me and D&D have a very checkered past. Here it is. I've always wanted to play Dungeons and Dragons, and I'm at college, my first year at community college. Everybody calm down. I go, man, I've always wanted to play Dungeons and Dragons. And one guy goes, you can play with me and my group when school's out for the day. We all meet up in the lobby and we play. I'm like, let's rock and roll. So I go there. The dude that invited me to play and his best friend start getting in a fight.
Oh.
And we're talking punch thrown, but deflected. No damage done.
Well, how did you deflect it? Did he roll
just,
like a dice?
He literally just
deflected it or cast a spell or something?
Very interesting. No, he literally just stepped away, slightly tripped on his chair, and the punch missed completely. I don't even get to put a name on the paper for my character, and all like 4 or 5 people leave, and I'm just sitting in a lobby. I bought so many books because I thought I was gonna play. Never even cracked them open. Nobody ever wanted to play with me, which is weird because I love fantasies and I love role playing.
You want to talk about this case file?
You kidding me? Of course I do.
Excellent.
I'm gonna solve it, buddy boy.
You're gonna solve this
Fresh
case file.
Case.
Rated PG-13.
Nah, I don't like that, but keep going.
Looks like this film was originally set to be released in May of 2022, but pushed back due to the pandemic. I didn't know the pandemic was still going on in May of 2022.
When did that movie come out? Pandemic.
Oh, no, the COVID.
Everybody
pandemic.
pushed their movies back because of pandemic.
The
That movie
national
must have been
pandemic.
killer.
Yeah. And then it came out on March 31st of 2023 with a budget of $150 million.
Isn't that fudging insane? That is so much money in the pocket.
Oh, not yet. That's so much money out of the pocket because right now, currently as it stands, worldwide, it has only pulled in $123 million.
Get out of
And the
here.
budget for $150 million, that does not include marketing. Which, rule of thumb, they say it costs about as much as the production of the movie
come up
for
with that?
marketing. Oh, it's basically if you ever do something wrong, you have to go out and get a switch the size of your thumb for your dad to slap you with.
Is that real?
That's called the rule of thumb.
I'm curious and aroused. Keep
Yeah,
going.
it's just another 80s
What?
reference term when it was still okay or not frowned upon to beat your children.
Somebody should tell my dad that because I'm
Yeah.
a 90s kid.
I should stop. I should really update my figures.
And you should stop beating kids because you don't have any. Well, you heard what people are saying now, though, right? Yeah, it's too off topic. Don't worry about it.
About me?
No, about kids growing up now and then the past.
Yeah, the blue ribbon rule.
What the is that?
They do away with competition. It's just all about participation.
That's not true because I went to a school and in 4th grade we had a science fair and no matter what, you do get a participation ribbon. And my teachers thought my idea was so stupid that I didn't even get a participation ribbon.
What was your idea?
It was slippers that you plug in at nighttime. And
like when you're sleeping.
when you're sleeping, you
Okay,
plug
so
them
I get
in.
it, I get it,
They're
yeah.
heated slippers.
What's wrong with that?
That's great.
Oh, but they really wanted a student to come up with a prototype, not just an
I
idea.
brought my dad's slipper, cut a hole in the back.
Yeah, that's what you said. You plug it in to heat it. Okay.
and jammed in his cell phone plug in the back of his slipper.
That's still not a working prototype.
It's not working, but it is a diorama of how it
Again,
works. A chick had a shopping cart with 3 wheels. She took one wheel off and put it in the middle, and they gave her like a 2nd place ribbon.
Again, Jonathan, that was a working prototype. And I think that's what they were.
So the blue ribbon
technically
rule's bull.
Jonathan, I do got to ask you a question. For the fact that this cost $150 million to make, and it's only so far drawn in $123 million worldwide, do you have any suspicion, because I don't want to say hunch, as to why it's not performing
sister has a
very
hunch.
well right now in the box office?
I don't know why it's not performing well in the box office. I really don't. I find
Well,
it.
I have
the
two
name alone, I
theories
thought
on
would do
that,
it.
because what I understand from an informant is that the writer-director,
John Francis Daly and Jonathan Goldstein.
they did an interview basically saying that they deconstructed the male lead to raise up the female leads in the movie.
You've never said anything ever in our relationship of 37 years that's made me madder than what you just said right now.
Okay.
That sounds very pretentious.
Really? Because I have a note here that says that is Disney's entire marketing strategy.
Oh, really? Did
right
anybody
now.
see that The Mandalorian lost 79% of their viewership on their first episode and the whole thing sucks?
Yeah, and I have also seen that they've recently fired one of their, what is it called? It's not a creative, it's not an executive producer. It's called
Oh, yeah, that broad. What's her name? Get her out. She
activist.
sucks.
It's called an activist.
Here's the thought, though. Somebody will come up to you and go, you can't say that. You're sexist because you said she sucks ass. I go, no, miss. It has nothing to do with it. You could be a woman. You could be a guy. You're still going to suck if you suck. And nobody gives a that it's a chick that's the boss. Nobody cares. We just want good stories instead of making the females better in some way or possibly trying to have them rise up to the bar of the lead male. We just decided to bring the bar down so they could just gently step over it. It's like, what?
The other theory is the main target demographic, obviously, is Dungeons and Dragons gamers,
Right.
the enthusiasts, the ones who know all the lore and the very rich background to everything Dungeons and Dragons.
There's a lot.
I don't want to interrupt.
No, please
'cause
do.
I'm so sorry.
I love getting interrupted.
Wizards of the Coast.
Yeah, they make Magic the Gathering cards, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
They got really up in arms about bootleg Dungeons and Dragons campaigns that are out there.
Okay, yeah.
And so they went on a campaign of their own, if you will, and started trying to collect money and shut down all of these bootleg campaigns going on around the world.
Oh, do they not have enough money? Poor them.
A lot of the purists of Dungeons and Dragons
Oh.
decided, out of spite, to boycott this movie.
Overseas, they're going to go cuckoo machu for this.
Yeah.
Second off, I think the normies, which you and I are, I think everyone like us, if they want to see a fantasy film, they're going to go see it. I see in the notes here. Oh, Chris Pine's my lead. I'm going to go to his house. I will investigate on the crime. I will talk to him. He will tell me he did everything naughty. I'm in the force. You're clean. It's under the rug. Hey,
Under the custard rug, which is a reference.
what is a custard rug?
It's a Dungeons and Dragons term.
Okay, because it sounds like a disgusting sex thing.
Well, let's get into the usual. Oh, wait. Hold on a second. Incident report. Do you mind playing the pan flute that you have
Yeah,
tucked into
give me
your
a
pocket?
second. Yeah.
A charming thief and a bet. Hold on. I don't like the way you're playing it. Here, I'll play it. You
Okay.
go ahead and read the incident
Yeah,
report, and I'll
sorry.
just go ahead and polish this up here.
Sure
real
thing.
quick. Go ahead.
A charming thief and a band of unlikely adventurers set out on an epic quest to recover the lost relic. But things go horribly wrong when they cross paths with the wrong people. That sounds like anybody in Apache Junction trying to go to the grocery store.
Usual suspects, producers. Entertainment One, formerly Alliance Pictures, which you may remember was the Canadian film company that created The Silent Partner in 1978. So profile on Entertainment One on August 22nd of 2019, the American toy and media company Hasbro announced a $4 billion acquisition of Entertainment One. That's the exact same amount that George Lucas sold Star Wars to Disney for.
He only sold it for $4 billion, and
Did you read in the latest news?
No.
That George Lucas turned that $4 billion into $12 billion already. But I gotta tell you that this movie, Dungeons and Dragons, has been in production hell since 2013.
What?
Now, don't
What?
mind if I pull out this board with all my connecting dots.
Look at you. You did arts and crafts.
You ready to follow along?
Yeah.
Because this gets deep. Starting in May of 2013, Warner Brothers Pictures and Courtney Solomon's Sweet Pea Entertainment announced a Dungeons and Dragons film
Yay.
with David Leslie Johnson McGoldrick writing the script.
Is that one man?
We've talked about it before.
What?
He was the ghostwriter on Black Adam.
Get out of town.
You don't remember this at all?
No.
David Leslie Johnson McGoldrick. Well, he also wrote Aquaman, Wrath of Titans, and Orphan.
Orphan's horror. It's not really in the same genre.
Right.
I mean, I guess the guy can write fantasy, but Wrath of Titans, there was a nice push of a lot of Greek fantasy movies that came out around the same time. More and more coming out, and that's the kind of stuff I like because they're totally cool with male nudity.
However, Hasbro filed a lawsuit 2 days later after that announcement, claiming that they were already co-producing a Dungeons and Dragons film with Universal Pictures, having Chris Morgan, you might know him as the writer of Fast and the Furious franchise.
Ah, yes.
Including the greatest entry in the franchise and maybe in cinematic history, Hobbs and Shaw.
So just to let you know, when these mics are off, I'm going to strangle you with my...
Well, before you do that, let me just also get out the fact that he wrote Tom Cruise's Mummy movie.
Oh, I love the Universal monsters. I like Bela Lugosi, and I like Lon Chaney Jr., and I like Boris Karloff. I like all that. I just enjoy it. And then they're like, we're doing the Wolfman, we're doing the Mummy, we're bringing everything back, baby. And that could have been a pretty profitable gold mine.
So also follow along here. After a U.S. district judge settled the film rights, they
settled the film rights for Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Okay.
I mean, it was top priority.
Oh my god.
I believe
right?
during that time it was the Donald Trump interrogation.
Donald Trump interrogation. Yeah. Should women vote? Dungeons and Dragons. Who has the film rights? That thing shot straight to the top.
And they gave it to Warner Brothers.
Absolutely.
So Warner Brothers was then set for pre-production in 2016 with Hasbro. And Rob Letterman was set to direct the David Leslie Johnson McGoldrick script. Letterman is famous for... 2010's box office bomb, Gulliver's Travels with Jack Black. Sadly, all of that fell apart. Picking up the baton in 2017 was Joe Manganiello. Yes, that Joe Manganiello, the original Flash Thompson from Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, the Snyder's vs. Deathstroke, and Sofia Vergara's Boy Toy.
But wait, he's the bully in the Spider-Man movie?
Yeah.
Where he goes to punch Peter Parker? I always wonder...
He goes, I wouldn't want to fight me neither. Can we talk about Mary Jane? Let's just put down... I don't want to talk about Dungeons and Dragons anymore. Mary Jane in the Sam Raimi Spider-Verse.
Yes, what are you saying here?
Was completely terrible.
Which Spider-Man is it where she gets on a Broadway or off-Broadway show?
The second one.
It's either the second or the third one.
It's the third one.
I couldn't stand her. I'm on Broadway and it's tough. And Spider-Man's like, well, I'm out every night. I'm up every morning. I'm trying to hold a steady job. I'm trying to support you and all your complaining. It's like, wow, Peter, you better be at my thing. I actually think critics in the real world tore that movie.
Spider-Man 3?
No, they reviewed the play.
I think I understand what you're saying, is that Joe Manganiello's Flash really dodged a bullet.
Exactly.
Okay.
You should be happy Peter got powers.
And also, he's an avid fan of Dungeons and Dragons.
Hell yeah.
Okay. Revealed that he had also written a script. And to make this film happen, he also got in touch with his buddy Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, who co-starred with him on Rampage. Not only that, he was getting the Rampage director, Brad Payton. Obviously, that never happened. Quick question for you. What do you think about a Dungeons and Dragons movie starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson?
If Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson was in a Dungeons & Dragons movie, he would be in Michelle Rodriguez's role.
Like a barbarian.
Yes, I would. That'd probably be one of my favorite movies because that sounds amazing.
Didn't he play in a movie called like Hercules?
Yeah, no, and he was Hercules.
And Scorpion
And the
King.
beginning of that, if I remember Hercules, he's a fraud. I love that part, and I wish it went on a little bit longer.
Well, if you do want the full story of Joe Manganiello's involvement with this project, you can see it on the Happy, Sad, Confused podcast.
Oh, wait, Joe Manganiello. Wait, is he the werewolf in True Blood?
Yes.
He's the werewolf, and he's in Magic Mike 2 XL, and oh my God, he's...
You didn't know what I was talking about?
When you kept saying that, I was like, who's that? Wasn't he voted like sexiest man alive like 92 times in a row?
Did you forget that he was also Flash from Spider-Man?
I didn't even realize that was him.
Oh my God.
Women love it. And you know what else he has? There is Joe Manganiello's epic Dungeons and Dragons campaign that has a lot of Hollywood's elites. And we're talking about Vince Vaughn, Tom Morello, a wrestler, also known as The Big Show. We have Game of Thrones co-writer D.B. Weiss. It's inside Joe Manganiello's basement. And they play Dungeons and Dragons because Dungeons and Dragons is cool. Jared remembers a time where he would like walk down the hallways of his high school like Flash from Spider-Man and shove a Dungeons and Dragons campaign up some kid's ass. It's not funny, Jared. That's just mean.
Well, and then in 2018, the two new names that were tossed in to write Dungeons and Dragons and direct it was Chris McKay. Now, you might know him as the director of Chris Pratt's Amazon Prime original movie, The Tomorrow War. But in 2019, Jonathan Goldstein and John Francis Daly began meeting with Paramount after Daly discussed his career with a literary agent at a sports bar in Sherman Oaks. The agent asked if they were looking for any work, and after he and Goldstein left duties directing The Flash, Ezra, yeah.
Nobody likes him.
Yeah, he's just under Warner Brothers lock and key right now.
Yeah,
and they're handling all of his
He
PR.
beat up a couple in Hawaii.
I think he's under house arrest by Warner Brothers.
Maybe they'll transfer him here.
The literary agent then informed them that Paramount was looking for a director and scriptwriter for Dungeons and Dragons. And that, my friends, is how Jonathan Goldstein and John Francis Daly became the directors and writers of Dungeons and Dragons.
Very interesting.
Honor Among Thieves.
Now, to back that up, what you just said here, when we do cases, we look at everything.
That's true. Distributor. Let me pull this out. Paramount Pictures. Prime suspects.
Writer and director. We got John Francis Daly. Probably recognize him from Freaks and Geeks. He's done a lot of writing. He did Horrible Bosses, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs 2, a lot of other stuff. Probably his most famous movie where everyone in the world has seen it is Spider-Man Homecoming and Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs 2. Jared, have you seen any of the Cloudy with a Chance of Meatball movies?
Yeah.
John Francis Daly has about 5 or 6 up-and-coming movies. There's one that really caught my eye just from the title. It's called Visionaries, Knights of the Magic Light. And that goes same for Jonathan Goldstein. I'm all over it, baby.
All right, what do you got under their direction together?
No idea.
It looks like they did Vacation in 2015.
Where did you get that?
I hadn't seen this. Have you seen this? Oh my gosh. You got Charlie Day.
Who was also in Horrible Bosses, which Jonathan, he wrote Horrible Bosses and Horrible Bosses 2. He was involved in that.
I like this kid actor. He's pretty good. He's
Yeah,
in
no,
the
he's great.
Righteous Gemstones.
No, yeah, he's really,
pretty funny.
He's really good. This is a movie called Vacation.
Yeah, it's a remake of the Chevy Chase classic. Hang on a second. This is not a remake. I think Ed Helms is playing
The son. The hubris to even be like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to write a soft reboot of National Lampoon's Vacation movies.
Have you seen this movie? Game Night in 2018.
No, and which is weird because there's a lot of people I like in it.
This is with Rachel McAdams and Jason Bateman, and I got it queued up here. We're going to go ahead and watch this trailer.
We're down to 2 teams, so for double points, what is the name of the purple Teletubby?
Tinky Winky.
I have seen this.
You loved it.
I did. I really did
love
like this movie.
Really? Even
And
with
that
all
is
the
a
look at
catchphrase.
the, I mean, this is a cast.
He's
man.
great in it.
Can I be honest with you now?
Yeah.
I feel like now if I go watch it and I don't like it,
Yeah.
I'm going to lose respect for you.
Well, I'm telling you right now, you're going to like Game Night.
I'll check it out.
All right, I'm going to pull out this file here. Cinematographer, Barry Peterson. This is
Ooh.
the 3rd time he's actually worked with the directors John Francis Daly and Jonathan Goldstein.
So they like each other. Okay.
Right. Barry Peterson was a cinematographer, so he lensed Vacation in 2015 and Game Night in 2018.
Jared's favorite movie.
Little profile on Barry Peterson. He's Canadian.
Okay. Well, next. So,
No, hold on. There's more stuff I want to share with you about. He began his career in special effects on various productions before transitioning to live action cinematography. You know, I always had a question about that. For animation, why is there a cinematographer?
I don't know. The camera has to go somewhere, Jared.
I guess. Where he began shooting commercials for companies such as Apple, Pepsi, and Nike.
Never heard of him.
Peterson's first credit as a cinematographer was on a Canadian film called Mustard Bath in 1993. When Peterson moved to Los Angeles, he was hired as the director of photography for Ben Stiller's Zoolander, which led to work on a number of studio films. Little body of evidence here for the cinematographer Barry Peterson. He's also done Hollywood Homicide in 2003.
That's one of my favorites.
I know, that's why I
Josh
looked it up.
Hartnett and Harrison Ford. You know what?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say it. I don't care. Possibly might be Harrison Ford's best role of that movie.
Well, his most interesting work with an 85% on Rotten Tomatoes was obviously Game Night. And the worst that Barry Peterson had lensed was The Watch with a 16%.
Wait, The Watch?
That's right.
Starring
with Ben Stiller and
Vince Vaughn, Jonah Hill, and the guy from the It Crowd.
the IT crowd.
yep.
Yeah. And he was the alien. Spoiler.
Wait, really?
Yep.
Why would you say that?
Sorry, I'll delete that from the podcast.
You can't delete it from my mind.
Okay. Hey, Jonathan, can you look at
yeah.
this real quick?
Yeah. What is that?
Right in
Okay.
the center.
Perfect. Oh! Yeah, It Crowd. Yeah, the guy from the It
No,
Crowd.
it's pronounced IT Crowd.
IT Crowd. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
And he's not the alien in that movie.
Okay, I didn't think he was.
Looks like he was location scouting for Dungeons and Dragons in Belfast, Northern Ireland, and France. This wasn't just a green screen movie. Well, that's all I got on the cinematographer, so let's move on to the editor, Dan Liebenthal. First time editing with John and John.
I like that. Okay.
So profile on Dan the editor is he's an American film editor who
Boom,
graduated
baby.
from UC San Diego in
Hey.
1985
Okay.
and has edited many films for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I'm going to go, he did a lot. He's done a ton. Iron Man, Spider-Man Homecoming, Thor the Dark World in 2013.
That one was rough, but at the same time, I still had a boner for Thor, so I'll let it pass.
I got a personal quote.
Your personal quotes, I don't like them.
Well, in good news, I wasn't the one who got the personal quote.
Oh,
from
okay.
the
What do you got?
situation. I didn't have to interview him. So I did listen to an interview on the Rough Cut podcast. The film editor said this film is about family and the decisions you make that are destructive to your own life. And their arc is knowing that the characters begin with selfish desires and progress into doing right by others.
I'm sorry. The arc in this movie, that's what he's saying? No.
Oh, okay. So here's an insight on the composer. Lorne Balfe. He's composed 167 projects. I think we've talked about him before. The directors were sending him dailies so that they can do an assembly cut with his composition. Does that make sense?
So the music was coming first?
Yeah. Here's
You
a
know?
personal quote that I promise there was no incident when I got it.
Okay.
He used to play Dungeons and Dragons. And so when I heard that they were making this film, I knew I just wanted to be a part of the team. Knowing all this, do we think that the filmmaking team will produce a successful or failed production?
They're writing, directing combo movies where they did both. For me, are not, they're just forgettable.
I don't know from any of this information that we've been able to come across that the writing and directors were actually a fan of Dungeons and Dragons, which I think is integral
You think?
to creating a good movie here.
I don't think so. You're making a movie for the masses, not for the minority. The minority would be the Dungeons and Dragons players. And I think you can satiate Dungeons and Dragons players going to the movies by having a couple things like the mimic chess and all that stuff. Right?
Okay.
But for the normies, they're not going to care. Would you have seen this movie without the Dungeons and Dragons? All same cast, everything's the same? I would.
Yeah.
Chris Pine, I'd be like, I'm in.
Go ahead and pop on this movie.
Here's the thing. We're a team of thieves. And when you
Well,
do
so
this,
far the cinematography and the
Like
yeah,
it or
this
don't
is
like
all
it?
really good. It looks
like
high
it?
production.
Can I tell you something right now between friends?
Yeah.
Mic's off. When I first saw the first Fast and the Furious, I had a fantasy of China from the WWF and Michelle Rodriguez fighting over me. Let's see who gets to have me as a reward.
truth be told, we helped the wrong person steal the wrong
You got
thing.
cults and magic and the undead and
Every character in the trailer has sold me.
Greatest
Yeah.
evil
But you know who I
ever
am a
known.
little nervous about?
Who?
Regé-Jean Page, and we remember him from The Gray Man.
You didn't like his role?
No, I didn't like him so far.
Okay.
But anyway.
What did you just think of Dungeons and Dragons? Honor Among Thieves, which, by the way, there's no honor among thieves.
Well, I guess it's like supposed to be if you're a team of thieves,
You're a-
inherently should have honor amongst
Yes,
themselves.
which is so cool. I wish I could steal, but I just feel bad. I've always wanted to be a cat burglar, but I'm allergic to cats. Go ahead, Jared. You enjoyed the film.
I did. I really, really enjoyed the film. Would love to see a sequel of it. I hope it actually becomes a franchise. However, is it going to be able to make back profit from a $150 million budget? Just to go back to Lord of the Rings, I've never read the books of the Lord of the Rings before.
Yeah, most people
Felt
did.
the same way about Dungeons and Dragons.
You didn't care for D&D. You see the movie, and now you got a chub. That's
All right.
awesome.
So what do you think of the movie?
I love Chris Pine. Let's get into the patsies.
We got Chris Pine.
We're starting with CP, baby. You know what? Have you ever heard of Chris Pine before Star Trek?
Yes.
You have. In what?
He was in Smoking Aces, and he was one of the
Oh, yes.
three brothers.
One of the three Nazi
he was
boys.
The coolest guy ever.
Yeah,
no,
you-
wait, not because he was a.
No, you think it's cool because he's a Nazi. Let's keep going. So Chris
I
Pine.
was saying that before.
That's right. He's
at the
on
very
there.
end. Basically, do you remember that movie?
I'm going to say this right
He just
now.
wanted to be a character actor.
Chris Pine does not win an Oscar. Granted,
What were you playing?
I have never been to the Oscars and I've never been invited, but I will not go this year specifically if he does not win an Oscar. He's amazing. I'm watching this. I'm not even joking. I was early on in a relationship with a female, and I'm questioning my sexuality because of this man on screen.
He's great.
It freaked me out.
Yeah.
His father
Was on Chips.
He was on Chips. His name is Robert Pine, and then his mother, Gwen Guilford. They're both working actors. The mother of Chris Pine she was on one episode of Heart to Heart, which is about Jonathan and Jennifer Hart, millionaires going around the world, and they're also amateur detectives. Why is that so interesting to me, Jonathan? Because my mother named me Jonathan after Jonathan Hart in the show Heart to Heart.
And that's when you became a gumshoe for the junk.
Exactly. Second I was born. I was born in this precinct in a bathroom.
So in this movie, Dungeons and Dragons, Chris Pine portrays Elgin Davis, a good-hearted bard. A bard, I had to look this up. Oh, do you know what a bard is?
You don't know what a bard is?
No. So a bard is traditionally defined as a poet. Elgin serves as a member of the Harpers, an order of peacekeepers. So we also have Chloe Coleman, who portrays Kira Davis, Elgin's daughter. Michelle Rodriguez, who portrays Holga Kilgore.
Yes, she does.
And she's a barbarian. Justin Smith portrays a half-elf named Simon Amor and also is a sorcerer.
He's a half elf? See, I didn't know that. I didn't catch that. I must not have been listening.
Sophia Lillis portrays Doric, who is a druid. And a druid is a shapeshifter, and she is also a tiefling. Yeah.
Is that what it is?
And it's described as being a mixture of a human and quote-unquote something else. Being a tiefling causes horns and a tail in her situation.
She had a tail?
Mm-hmm.
I thought she just had a tail because she was a druid. My character on ESO.
According to an informant in the movie, Doric repeatedly turns into an owl bear.
Yes.
However, according to the official rules of Dungeons and Dragons tabletop game, a druid can in fact only turn into a beast. But the owl bear is officially classified as a quote-unquote monstrosity, and a druid character cannot take the shape of those particular creatures.
I guarantee you, if I was playing D&D, I will turn into a giant penis.
Then, of course, you have Hugh Grant, who portrays Forge, a rogue who is essentially a thief. I got a personal quote from Hugh Grant.
Of course you do.
He says, "I'm scared, stiff, of D&D gamers because they are very territorial about the game that they love." And I just hope I did it justice. And I said, thank you very much.
Wow.
Got some information on Regé-Jean Page. He portrays Zinc Yandar. He's a paladin, aka a holy knight. They are crusading in the name of good and order. But like, what's their definition of good and order? That
That's
sounds
true.
very fascist to me.
Fascista.
He's also a divine spellcaster who
Okay.
narrowly escaped the, get ready for this name, Lik-Sas-Tam's rise to power in Thay. That's a place. And as a result, ages more slowly than a normal human. Kind of like the Duodane clan in Lord of the Rings.
Well, look at you.
Yeah. But according to an informant, Bradley Cooper
Oh, you're just going to dive into that.
as Marleman the Halfling.
I love that scene. And you know what? When I saw that he was such a small man dating such a large woman, it immediately created a fetish for myself, which I am now addicted to. Amazonians. It's great.
I do have an informant who told me exactly how that cameo came about. So John Francis Daly worked with Bradley Cooper on Kitchen Confidential in 2005. And the director sent Bradley a letter stating, quote unquote, "It'll be fun to play again."
Ugh, I don't like that. Letters are very important.
Well,
If you listen to people who are very successful now, and these are people that like were up and coming in like 2015,
Oh.
I sent a letter to blah blah for advice because a letter shows the time put in and the interest. A text massage is just a text massage.
funny that you mentioned that because after Bradley Cooper received the letter, he sent John a text message and said, "Yo, is this still John?" Question mark. In between that time, apparently Bradley Cooper had already seen the film. Bradley Cooper ended up telling John that this movie was a triumph.
Bradley Cooper called this movie a triumph.
Yep.
Okay.
After already seeing the film in its completed form. Bradley said,
Wow.
"I'm on board. Sign me up." And now you're asking yourself, wait a second. If Bradley Cooper already saw a screener of Dungeons and Dragons, how did he all of a sudden wind up in the movie?
Can you do that?
If you're Bradley Cooper, by the time Cooper signed on to cameo in the film, Goldstein and Daly had already all but finished the film.
What a move.
So they filmed Cooper's part well after the fact and inserted him later in the film. Now, you're probably asking yourself, now, wait a second. That scene was already filmed and shot in the movie. Who was that actor? Okay, apparently it was an unnamed director that they don't want to give the name. And
my balls are telling me Jon Favreau.
But Bradley Cooper says,
Jared,
I want to be in your movie.
Jared.
You put Bradley Cooper in your movie.
The best,
end quote.
Jared, the best halfling, I bet you it was Woody Allen.
Oh, no, they wouldn't have put him in there.
I would have.
Maybe Martin Scorsese.
He wouldn't. You think? Can I ask you a serious question though?
Of course, I hope you would. After this many years of us being
How
partners.
did they find such big women?
I know you're trying to get information from my informant to satisfy your fetish, and I'm going to tell you right now.
I'm just wondering.
Look you right in the eye. I'm not going to give it to you.
Because those women were big.
Let's talk about the movie. I call this category plot thicken.
Ooh, baby, my plot is thickening.
All right, let's start with Elgin, Chris Pine. He steals cursed gold from the Red Wizards, allowing the wizards to track it down, leading them to his home where they murder his wife.
Yes.
They didn't manage to also get his child.
Right, the baby.
Because his wife was able to hide him in
a wall.
Like, how do you deal with that?
Right.
And I know as a Bard member, and he would just constantly do service for others, and that one decision ruined his entire life.
Now, Jared, you and me,
that's incredible.
We've been doing this job for a while, and we've done a lot of busts, a lot of drug busts. We've busted in to a cocaine lab. There has been over 200 grand on the table, and I'm sneaking 20, 30, 40 G's. Come on. Let's get real here, huh? Let's be honest.
Right.
We've always skimmed a little bit off the top.
I just got what I needed.
I'm sneaking 20, 30, 40 G's in my pocket.
This whole podcast has been a sting operation to get what I just got.
Hey, Jared, you're telling me you've never taken some money from the top? Come on, you've skimmed something, right?
Of course I have.
Really? You skimmed, how much did you skim?
$34 million.
Click. You skimmed, how much did you skim?
$34 million.
Click. This whole thing has been a scam, and I've been working internal affairs for the past 12 months. Trying to get your ass caught. Now, here's the thing, Jared, because we're both honorable cops.
Right.
I will give you $10,000 to delete that video, to delete that tape recording. I will give you $10,000 to delete that video.
You see that? That's what I call a double sting. I just got you confessing in a $10,000 bribe.
Okay.
Oh.
That is a gun pointed at your genitals. Delete those tapes right now.
Damn it. You're threatening the only thing I ever cared about in my entire life.
That's right.
I'm going to put this away. All right. Well, I'm glad we were able to put that behind us.
We're best friends. We're
Jonathan,
best cops. We're best partners.
I'm so sorry.
Me too.
I hope you forgive me.
You know what? I do, because in the end, all I ever wanted was to point a gun at your genitals. And now look at us. We both got what we wanted.
You know, in the end, I think it was worth it. All right, let's move on to another plot thickens point. Something I found interesting as well. Kira, Elgin's daughter, she was like, Dad, we have everything we ever needed right here, right now. Because he's like, well, I want to get your mother.
Him thinking I want your
that,
mother to come back.
All the while, his daughter was really just trying to communicate to him that, hey, you don't have to do this for me.
Right.
Obviously, you're doing it for yourself.
For yourself.
So the tablet for reawakening essentially was a big lure for Chris Pine's character, Elgin, to put his family back together.
Which, people are watching going, it's a MacGuffin.
Another plot thickens point is the frozen prison at Revel's End. Because at first you were thinking the character that they really wanted,
Jonathan.
To come
would
in.
sympathize with Chris Pine's story.
Yeah.
And then for it to just be a scheme to jump on this Eagle Man's back, fly Eagle Man so he could take you to safety.
Yeah. And do you remember the quote that Elgin said? My greatest regret is to not be there for my daughter, and I will be making it up to her for the rest of her life.
I believed him.
The rest of my life.
Yes, he said the rest of my life, and I believed him when he said that.
Even the council believed him.
Yes.
So when he...
they pardoned him.
They did.
They're like, you're pardoned. Yeah. Keep going.
Okay. High Sun Games, the gladiatorial games that had been banned but reinstituted by Forge.
I'm no longer scared of the PFK. I'm now scared of a hologram of the PFK. Well, the PFK is right behind me.
Well, and then I think we already talked about the end course. Elgin uses the tablet of reawakening to resurrect Holga, who died during the Battle of the Red Wizards.
Yep. I knew the mom is never coming back. Either Chris Pine or Holga's going to get hurt, and then they're going to have to use this tablet to bring them back.
Yeah.
They
I
never-
really
yeah.
like the theme of this movie because
What is the
your
theme?
family is not the one you're born into. The family is the one that you create.
You want to know something that
Yeah.
I've been doing to you for the last 12 years?
Sure.
I've been sneaking to your house at night.
Okay.
And as you're sleeping, I just drip a little bit of my blood into your mouth, hoping that when you take an ancestry test, 12 more quarts
I do have a
and your
confession.
DNA
then.
will
I'm
change.
so sorry to tell you this, but every time you go and you donate blood, I replace your blood with a vial of my own.
That's why they say I have 23 STDs. And I'm like, dude, I'm a virgin.
So, box office. Let's talk about
Hit
that.
me up with that box office.
Competing against John Wick, Chapter 4,
That movie sucked.
Scream 6,
That movie sucked.
Creed 3.
I want to see that. I'm a sucker for Jonathan Majors.
However, I believe he is canceled now. You won't see.
Whoa.
You didn't
Why?
hear?
No, what?
Oh my God, you didn't read the report I sent you.
Tell me.
Okay, well, I'd rather you just read it, but I guess I'll just give you the spoilers. Essentially, he was involved in a domestic abuse situation with his current girlfriend.
Do we have video?
Because they said the video that's going to be released should also help vindicate him.
Exactly.
However,
the news does.
people
Jump
are
to
also
conclusions.
jumping on the wagon against Jonathan
because
Majors.
they're jealous.
Because other directors and Hollywood heavyweights are saying that he is problematic and has behavioral issues on and off set.
Very interesting.
So
Wow.
looks like
So Creed 3 is his final, and then we're going to start seeing him in B-list movies on Netflix.
Yeah. So Dungeons and Dragons opening weekend, where do you think it ranked?
It ranked third.
Definitely number one,
Ding,
making
ding.
$37 million. All right, deductions. Key to the City, Best Actor.
Chris Pine.
Obviously, it's Chris Pine.
But can we give a round of applause real quick to the practical effects in this movie?
Yeah.
And I looked it up. I tried to find some info on the people that did the practical effects.
Yeah.
And there was too many. I didn't know which one to name. Hang on, I actually have a round of applause that I recorded for when I would say this. There you go. Oops, sorry, don't listen to that. Oh my God. There it is.
Fall Guy, nobody, right?
I can't give it to anyone, man.
The moral and message of the movie.
What was the message, Jared?
No matter what you do in life, you always can redeem yourself. That's it.
I disagree. If you're you can't.
Oh.
Yeah, but he didn't steal the gold knowing it would lead to killing his wife.
No.
He stole the gold kind of like an Aladdin reason, a good reason. Like I need this for my family and there's so much of it. And let's be real here, folks. There's a bust. Money's taken. Some low-level cops like, I just need this because my kid needs braces. Let me take $1,300. If he doesn't take it, where do you think that 50 grand's gonna go? It's gonna go into the evidence room. They're gonna flush it through the system. It's just gonna end up in some bureaucratic pocket of somebody.
What I liked about this
He
movie
didn't
as well.
do anything wrong.
Zink, remember when he was talking to Chris Pine's character Elgin and said,
Yes.
I know you don't believe the promise that you're making right now, but
Yeah.
I believe you. There's people being led by their selfish decisions.
Right, but Chris Pine
And then ultimately
had
doing
to.
right by others.
That's true, but he had to give it up. But it was
to get everybody out of the
But
Coliseum.
it did come to fruition, and in the end, it kind of shows like, you know what? Money is not important. In the end, none of it matters. I need my family.
Yes.
My kids are what's important.
And that's what his daughter Kira was always trying to tell
This
us. You don't
is
need to
right,
run
yeah.
off on some adventure that could separate or even harm our family unit.
Mhm.
We already have it right here and now.
Yes.
And that's what I've been trying to tell you forever.
Yes.
We don't have to go after the PFK anymore
What?
because that's going to destroy the partnership that we have.
I don't want to freak you out, but that is our job. We need to catch him.
Right. Okay. You're right.
Why are you trying to stop me from catching him?
I just really like the office that I have now.
You
which was
might get a
Santiago's.
nicer office if
Okay.
we catch him.
Right. But also nice knowing that it was Santiago's office and Santiago doesn't have that office anymore.
Oh yeah, no.
It's kinda nice.
I literally wear his
I like
suit.
just knowing I've replaced him. That's all.
Oh.
Yeah. Anyway, Rutger Hauer, the Switcher. Who would he play in this movie?
Oh man, I would give him Michelle Rodriguez's role. I would love that. And
Yeah.
keep it exactly the same. He walks into that hut and Bradley Cooper is sitting in that chair.
Steal from the evidence room.
You have to go for
What would I take from the evidence room?
Okay, you go. Okay, ready? We'll say it at the same time. You ready?
Hold on a second.
We're gonna say it at the same time.
3,
2, 1. Chris
Tablet
Pine.
of Reawakening.
What?
What?
Tablet of Reawakening, huh?
Yeah. You know, have it just in case.
In case of
Just anything happens to anybody important to me, you know.
anything?
Yeah.
To bring them back.
Yep.
That's beautiful.
That's right.
Yeah.
So I believe this case has been solved.
It has been solved.
So I just want to ask you, Jonathan Sourdough Mano,
Yeah.
should this movie be redacted or released for public record?
I think this movie should, in all respect of Dungeons and Dragons, Honor Among Thieves, this franchise should be popping up back in our lives every couple of years. I think this movie should be labeled as herpes. This movie should be spread to the masses at some type of orgy/kissing booth. And why don't they exist anymore? You know what I mean? Jared, overall thoughts on the film. What did you think of the movie? And do you think this movie should be spread like a minor STD?
Obviously a public record.
Gumshoes, listen up! There's a whole spread of herpes going through the precinct. Everyone needs to get tested.